Hello friends, my name is Paul, Oscar Mike 0 Echo Tango, and today I would like to show you my new receiver from China. It is the ATS-25. This receiver is available on the Banggood, and the link for the receiver you can find down in the video description. So today let me show you how this receiver works, actually how it looks like, and of course what is inside this receiver. Receiver came with the small whip antenna and the BNC connector and the charging USB cable, which is the USB-C on the side for charging this receiver, and the radio itself with the rubber pads on the bottom. And here you can see this receiver, how it looks like. It is made of metallic case, very well made drilled holes for the big speaker inside this receiver, and the front and the back panel is made of the PCB board, machined PCB board. So on the front panel you can find just the touch screen and the bands which you can receive with this receiver, and the big tuning knob which is really handy, fine to tune. On the back side we can find the charging port, LED charge indication, the power button or power switch, and headphone socket for 3.5mm jacks, and the BNC socket and switch for antennas. If you're using a FM antenna, you have to choose which antenna you want to use. The second position is for short wave, long wave, and middle wave bands. Okay, so now let me open the box and let me show you what is inside and how this receiver actually works. Okay, so here you see that there is a big speaker, really big speaker inside the enclosure, and it's sealed with the silicone, and inside it's not really many components. We can see just the Arduino based MCU or microcontroller unit, and here is the encoder which is used for tuning a knob. On the bottom you can see the big large LiIon battery, and here is the main board of the receiver itself. So let me say something about the design itself of this little receiver. So the whole receiver is based on just the one chip, and this chip is made by the Silicon Labs. It's a famous chip, SI or Sierra India 4732/Alpha 10, and actually the whole receiver is hiding inside this little body of this chip. Outside of the body is just the oscillator and some few capacitors and circuitry outside of the body of this little chip. So the input signal from the VFO is coming from this side to this chip, and the output, the audio output, is coming out to the audio driver, which is this second chip here. It's the chip Alpha Papa Alpha 2308, which is actually the AB stereo headphone driver, and the output, or the audio output, is 280 milliwatts on 8 ohm headphones, or 110 milliwatts on 32 ohm headphones. Third chip is the power amplifier for the audio into the speaker. So the second board you can find on the front panel is here. So this board is mainly based on the Vroom 32 MCU, or microcontroller unit. This is actually a module which includes whole firmware or software, and also from the second side you can find the touch screen. Also, the third little PCB is located on the back of the encoder, which you can use for tuning. The second part of the main board includes a charging unit, which is here on this side, and a USB-C connector and a power switch here. Also, I forgot to mention that, as you can see, there is no any filters, or there is no band pass filters or low pass filters, nothing at all here. So the signal coming from the antenna directly to the chip, and that means that this receiver may be problematic with the bigger or larger antenna, and there is no any attenuator also in this receiver. So keep in mind that this receiver needs some kind of short or shortened antenna, or you can use it with the magnetic loop, which is a selective antenna, or you can just add one more PCB inside with the bandpass filter, for example. So just my tip for you if you want to use this receiver with a bigger antenna. So the design is very simple, and whole design of this receiver has been developed by 3 guys. The first one was Ricardo Papa Uniform 2 Charlie Lima Radio. He has developed a firmware for this receiver. Then is Mr. Gert Papa Echo 0 Mike Golf Bravo from Netherlands. He designed circuitry or the hardware for this receiver. And the third guy is the Chinese guy from China, Bravo Delta 7 Juliet Papa Yankee, and probably he designed PCB of this circuitry, and probably maybe also the enclosure of this receiver itself. I bought this receiver from China, so probably he is the guy who designed this receiver itself. Down in the video description I will put a few links for these three guys, or actually two guys, for Ricardo and Gert, for their very, very interesting project. You can find there on the links. And my next step is to measure the power consumption of this receiver from the internal battery. And next step will be to close this receiver and practically testing this receiver outside in the garden of the house. So let me now measure the current consumption. I'm very curious what the current consumption is on this receiver. So I have to desolder the positive or the red wire from this receiver. I have to be careful to not touch any of the ground or grounding. Okay, good. So when the radio is off, you can see there is some power consumption. It is I think 30 microamps. And when we turn the radio on, so at the start it is 110, and with the audio on, power consumption is on 140 milliamps. 140 milliamps with antenna is off. I'm gonna put the antenna from magnetic loop antenna to the receiver. Okay, antenna is there. You see that power consumption 138, so almost the same. So it's not so bad. 140 milliamps should take a lot of time receiving with this large battery inside the enclosure. When we know that 2000 milliamp hour battery inside the box and the power consumption is 140 milliamp, so we can count that 14 hours of the full receive time will be able to receive with this receiver, which is not bad. 14 hours on full charge of this battery.
до будущих. Теплее 673. Вам микрофончик подойдет? Да, вопросов нет. Будьте здоровы, 7-3. А всем на 42 на 6 Федор Харитон Марьяна, правильно?
Марьяна, Роман, 3, звук соплепление.
Михаил, центр, йод.
Турьяна, Анна 6, Боря, звук, центр. Турьяна, Анна 6, Борис, звук, центр.
По Николаю, прием.
Спасибо за ответ. 5 замечательно, громко принимаю вас. Мое имя Владислав. Город Лисик. Как принято?
Отлично, Владислав, прекрасный сигнал. Спасибо за КСО.
До свидания, удачи.
Роман 9, Тамара Сергей. Добрый день, вам пятерочка.
Для подвоя, я понял, Сереж. У меня было такое много, ребята привезли этого кабеля, ну легкий, хороший кабель, мне понравился. Мне еще в наличии там метров на 60 осталось, блин, я себе оставил.
Идете, поэтому принимайте, и практически одинаковые, это, ну так, не совсем уж одинаковый тембр, но все равно.
Yo y espero repetirlo pues en mejores condiciones. José Antonio, a uno
Константин Павел.
Добрый вечер, Анатолий. Пятерка, девятка, великолепно принимаю.
Tango to Oscar.
Yeah, radio Tango to Oscar, big signal, you are 59 plus 10, go ahead.
59 plus 10, 44.
QSL, wish you also 73 and 44. This is Delta Lima 1, Yankee Charlie Portable, located in the nature park of the Vulcan Isles. You are for Delta Lima Foxtrot 0136, QSL. From Germany, you are 5 by 9. The name is not November Alpha Tango. Mike 0 Lima Zulu Uniform, DC5 for you, over. Это Николай, возвращение.
Прекрасно, но я тебе рапорт позже, у меня тут, я, значит, включил немножко усиление, и с усилением ты меня тут прокричал аж до 35 вроде так. Страшно стало. Добрый вечер, рад тебя слышать. Да ну как-то лето, вот это вечером уже туда-сюда, то все, то это, вечером уже как-то не до этого. Днем еще бывает, подхожу там на ВЧ диапазон немножко покричу, а так. Ça dit ton ruban, il fait un papillon quoi. Et bon tu me diras, mais quand le fil passera, tu sais, pour moi le fil...
或早于美国官方公布的时间。中国外交部发言人汪文斌24号表示，公布并 其病理数据，尽快邀请世卫组织专家赴美开展溯源研究，给国际社会和美国民众一个科学和公正的交代。中国国务院新闻办公室24号举行新闻发布会，交通运输部、国家铁路局、中国民航局、国家邮政局分别介绍了立体交通网在全面建成小康社会进程中发挥的重要作用。中国国家统计局25号发布数据，实测抽样调查结果推算，2021年全国早稻总产量2000。
Ça pense Twitter avec des graphiques. Peu importe combien nous essayons de
Nachdem die oben erwähnte ökologische
Okay, so that was receiving across the 40-meter band, and you had seen receiving on SSB modulation on the ham band, and also AM modulation on the shortwave broadcast stations on 41 meters. It's a great receiver, great, small, simple receiver, but I said before, you need only small antennas, because with the big antennas will appear over modulation or intermodulation on the bands, and overflowing problem will appear on this receiver. But in general, it's really nice little receiver with all shortwave coverage, ham bands included, and AM broadcast station included. So I have to say that's great. So here on the screen you can see soft buttons like ham and bands or ham and band. That means they are presets of the ham bands, let's say 20 meters, and the radio will be in USB or SSB mode. If you go to the band, that means all short waves broadcast bands, let's say 41 meters, and the radio will go to the AM mode and to the frequency 7400 at this moment. There is the key button, so you can go directly to this frequency 7.4. So we're back. There's the mode button. You can select the LSB, USB or AM sync modulation. The BFO button, you can by pressing the BFO button, or you can press the tuning button. No, we have to be in SSB mode, so let's go to 40 meters ham band. And here we are in LSB modulation, so we can go or push the tuning button or knob. And now by pressing tuning knob we can tune the BFO, or we can slightly tune the frequency or the station on the frequency. The AGC function. The AGC function is if you want to switch the AGC off or on. It's the automatic gain control but if you switch on the AGC and then you will turn 1 kilohertz down, you can see the AGC will go back to on. So this is just a temporary function. Okay, and the next is the bandwidth. It's the BW here, and you can choose one of these bandwidth presets. It's 500 Hz, 1 kilohertz, 1.2, 2.2, 3 and 4. It's very unusual because most of the SSB radios does have a 1.8 or 2.4, but these values are missing in this menu, which is pity. And mode, you can select this for modes. Step button, we have 4 values, 1 kilohertz, 5 kilohertz, 9 and 10 kilohertz. There is no less than 1 kilohertz, which is also pity. 100 hertz or few hertz would be very great. But we have a BFO, so we can tune the station precisely with the BFO function, like here. And preset button, I don't have any preset now. And the mute button, so by switch the mute button, or the sound will stop. And the volume button, by pressing volume button and turning the tuning knob, you will select the volume value. Okay, so this is the main menu, and there is also the second menu by pressing next. Here we have a seek functions. It is a scan, or we can select the AGC value from 1 to 37, I guess. Yeah, 37. But honestly, I don't see any difference between 1 and 37. Info, there is some kind of info. You can see the software version 2 beta by Ricardo, Gerd and Tiago. So this Chinese station, yeah, his name is Tiago. Okay, and then you can switch on or off the RDS function, but I don't know if you see that. It's very bright. Yeah, the RDS is here on top, so you can switch on or off, but it's working only in FM mode. Okay, so this is the menu of this little receiver. What do you think, guys? Please leave me a comment, and I hope that you enjoyed this video. So thank you very, very much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one. 7-3 and good luck. Bye bye.